Starting. There we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Fan Friction. I'm your host, Jack Shipley. We're sorry for the delay. As always, we are a live show with many technical difficulties. Today is no different. So please welcome to the show. And we have some guests today. All of them are returning, so let me introduce them to you and get started. Our first guest hails from Texas, but joins us today from south of the border in Mexico. He's a founding member of our TUFF channel and is looking for his first Fan Friction win. Try saying that 10 times real fast. Please welcome back Raúl Rodríguez. Welcome, Raúl.
Hey, muchas gracias, Jack, por darme la bienvenida de regreso. Thank you, Jack, for welcoming me again.
Oh, glad to have you back, my friend. Returning to the show from New York, our second guest is the co-host of our Ache Panel podcast that airs right here on TUFF every Monday. Welcome back to the show, Tom Bennis.
Hello, everyone. How is it?
Tom, I forget, you have one win, right, so far?
I am 1-1.
1-1. All right. And then there is our final guest. He's the hardest working man on the internet, no doubt. He's the host of the Nick Animation Podcast, co-host of Superhero News, a regular on Geek and Sunday's Twitch channel. He's the host of Knocking Dead, and he has his own channel called The Playback, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
The Playback. Awesome. And they just dropped their new episode of their Fear the Walking Dead recap, so check that out. Please welcome back to our show, Hector Navarro.
I'm tweeting the link right now so that everybody on the internet can watch the show. Here we go.
Thank you very much. And welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us again. Here, to keep the facts in check, they are the hosts of the TUFF News show BFF, which is going to air the opposite Sunday of our show. Please welcome Ashley and Joe Davis. You guys recognize them.
Hello. Hey, everyone. Glad to be back.
Guys, welcome back to the show. I have a quick description of how we do things here for the new folks watching the show for the first time. Welcome to the show. Here's how it works. All of our scoring is based on the facts presented, along with the passion and creativity of our fighters' arguments, not what I may personally think is the best. Part 1 will feature 4 rounds of movie and TV debates with the 2 fighters who get the most points moving on to the lightning round. And our lightning round is based on a best-of-5 speed fight to determine who wins today's Fan Friction. So without any further ado, let's get it going. I have a bell. Woohoo! Round 1. There we are. All right, I would like to know, what is the greatest superhero theme song from either TV or film? And today we will be starting with you, Raúl.
Okay, I chose X-Men, the animated series, the one from the 90s. Ta-da-da-da-da, ta-da-da-da-da, ta-da-da-da, ta-da, Also, the X-Men animated series, it encapsulates all of the different characters, introduces Jean Grey, Storm, Professor X, Magneto. Also shows a lot of the X-Men have the battles of every day. They need to show up that the mutants are good, but also they need to defeat the mutants that are working outside with Magneto because they want to be the upper species, the upper race, because they want to destroy humans. So it considers all the story about the series in the comic books in an intro of about like 45 seconds. So that is why I chose that one.
Awesome. Tom, what did you pick?
I picked Danny Elfman's Batman theme from Batman, Tim Burton's Batman in 1989. This score has transpired generations. It was the foundation for the animated series. It set the tone for the whole show. And it's also been in 3 of the Lego Batman games. So it's definitely affected people in every age range, except for senior citizens, maybe. I don't know. And that's why that's my pick. I think it's amazing.
Awesome. And Hector, what'd you pick?
I went with, first of all, this is like my favorite question ever to answer. It's such a great question. I went with a choice that is very personal to myself, but I also think that it's very underrated. It's not a very obvious choice. I was looking at things like John Williams' Superman score, Danny Elfman's Bright Batman, also Spider-Man stuff, more recent superhero movie themes, classic TV shows. I went with Christopher Carter's theme music for Batman Beyond. And the reason I went with this is because I think it is the most effective at its job, and I think it had one of the most difficult jobs to do. If you recall, I remember the pilot episode for Batman Beyond. The entire concept of this cartoon show came from a network executive saying, well, what about a teenage Batman? Which goes against the very idea of Batman. That's not who Batman is at all. But instead of throwing that away, Bruce Timm and Alan Burnett and guys that were working on Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series, they took that idea and went with it, and they go, well, how would a teenage Batman work in a story? And the only thing they came up with was, well, Batman has to be 90 years old. Bruce Wayne has to be 90, and there has to be a new character that comes in. So they decided to go future punk. They decided to go Blade Runner with it. They decided to do this great sci-fi take on Batman. And it was familiar and yet unlike any iteration of Batman that has come since then or before. I think it is the most unique version of that story. And I think that Christopher Carter did a brilliant job with the theme music, which happened after the opening part of the pilot episode, which is classically scored Batman the Animated Series. The only difference is that Bruce Wayne was about 60 years old, so it's supposed to be about 30 years from the future, from right now, and he was wearing the Batman Beyond suit. And that's the only, other than that, it's the exact same animated show. In that opening, Bruce Wayne, as his 60-year-old man, just facing some thugs as he's fighting some guys that had kidnapped like a politician's daughter or something, he has a heart attack. And he has to resort to picking up a gun and holding it at just a crook, and he goes, whoa, hey, I'm out of here, and he runs away. But the fact that he had to pick up a gun explains to you so brilliantly why Bruce Wayne quits. He takes off the mask, he's bleeding a little bit from the lip, he's got gray hair up on a rooftop after it's all said and done, and he goes, no more. And that's the end of Batman. And then it starts with the theme music, Christopher Carter, and you're like, what the hell am I watching right now? It is so different. It shows you the word Batman, and then it goes, it brings in Beyond. You're at a nightclub. You see young, sexy teens dancing. Then you see Batman, that slick new Batman Beyond costume appear, and he's escaping as you're hearing bam. It is the most jarring and completely just it shakes you to your core if you are familiar with Batman. And what it does too is that every single episode it sets up the world so that the beginning of the episode doesn't have to have characters do that for you. You know, you watch that first episode and that's jarring, and then it lets you know that you're in a future world so that it can become a little bit more familiar. It doesn't have to hit you over the head with it every 5 seconds. So then every episode after that, you tune in and you watch Batman Beyond, and oftentimes they didn't have a cold open. It would just start with that theme music, and it reminds you, oh, that's right, I am 60 years in the future, from whatever year it is right now. The buildings are these giant corporations. They look like pyramids. It's like New Gotham City. It's insane. You know, Bruce Wayne is a 90-year-old man. Terry McGinnis is this young kid. There's going to be new terminology, new slang. It's just a new world. And then the show can do its job and be a little bit more classically scored. Do you know what I mean? So I think that it does the most impressive job at bringing you into this world and then letting you go so that you can enjoy the story. So I'm picking Batman Beyond by Christopher Carter.
All right, guys, beat each other up.
All right, so I feel that the animated series is more Blade Runner than Batman Beyond will ever be. Don't get me wrong. I think the character work and the story development and seeing these new villains pop up for a new Batman, Tim McGinnis's Rogues Gallery is more impressive than most modern heroes. But that has nothing to do with the score. I feel the score is one of the worst parts. Well, the opening theme is one of the worst parts of the show. It kind of sets a tone, and it kind of gives off this lazy feel, especially in the animation when they're in a club listening to new metal, and all they do is wash with colors. Like, I feel like that's just kind of lazy, and that's nothing against the show itself, but I feel like the new metal Nine Inch Nails kind of dated, trendy vibe kind of hurts it in a futuristic setting. Raul might have the second best animated series there is, and I say second best because Batman the Animated Series is the first. But you sang half of the theme song, and the other half is what exactly you sang. It's a 30-second loop twice. It's a good song for a commercial, but all it does is that's all it is.
Yeah, but the question is, what is the best superhero theme song? So I think it has to portray the character, has to portray it best. So the character in this animated series is the group of the X-Men, is the mutants, is the war that they have to go throughout the whole series. And also about you, Tom, about Batman '89. It was the best theme is Batman the Animated Series. It encapsulates better Batman.
It's the same thing, Raul. Raul, it's the
No,
same thing.
it's much
the
better
same
in the
thing.
animated series.
It's the same thing. It's the exact same song.
And also between Batman Beyond and Batman the movie, Batman the animated series is a better theme song. Overall,
It's the
between the
same
both.
song.
No,
It is. Look it up.
I look it up. It sounds way better than Batman perfected it better for the animated series.
This is why we have fact checkers.
Hop on it, guys.
And so, and also with Hector, I know that your choice is personal, but when I didn't even know about Batman Beyond, so I looked it up. I saw the theme song. Yes. So I looked it up for the theme song. I was like, this is so 90s. There's very punk, like old rock, rap, futuristic rock. I was thinking I was in like a nightclub, and so I was like, this is very dated, very 90s. So maybe that's also, it doesn't show up Batman. It shows up like a futuristic vibe, but if you heard it without the video, you can get it confused with another song if you cannot remember Batman. If you heard my theme song without any video, you're gonna know there is something about superheroes. That's the feel you're gonna know. Like in between Toms in the movie, I heard it like that without the video. It felt more like the story about Gotham City without Batman.
They're one and the same.
Great
No,
points.
but they're very different. Between the animated series and the movie, they are very different.
I think that the Batman Beyond theme is very distinct, and it's not Batman Bruce Wayne. It is specific to Terry McGinnis, and it does take you to another place. And if you had heard it without the context of that episode and just heard it isolated, then yeah, it's not going to make sense. But it's the best superhero theme because it serves that character and that story in the best possible way. I think that the X-Men 90s theme is 90s itself. It's very, very 90s, and it's very difficult to encapsulate all of those different characters because that's a tall order. Is to have a music that also describes Wolverine, who's very different from Cyclops, who's very different from Beast. I think it's a great cartoon show theme, but it is very, like Tom was saying, repetitive, and it's a bit of an earworm, and it's to try to they get kids' attentions. And it's not to say that it's dumbed down, but it's specifically written, which I think was written by the same guy who wrote the Power Rangers theme music, which you can fact check on that. And those two themes, again, they're enjoyable when you're a kid, but go Power Rangers, they're very cheesy. They're specifically written to get a kid's attention, whereas Batman Beyond and a lot of the Batman animated stuff, because we keep circling around and talking about that, it was made by adults and it was made for adults, but it also just appealed to kids. I think that the Danny Elfman music for Batman '89 is fantastic, but I would argue that a lot of what Hans Zimmer did in the recent Batman movies is even more specific to those characters.
I'm sorry, I have
It's
to
more
interrupt you
epic.
here.
It's even more effective at Batman.
I watched a pairing of the Burton's movie paired with Hans Zimmer's composition and vice versa. I can say Elfman can match both tones. Hans Zimmer, I do not think can touch Burton on the same level.
If you're saying that Hans Zimmer music set to
No.
movies
I'm
isn't
saying
good,
specific
then that's
theme.
not. Then sure, yeah. Hans Zimmer music set to Tim Burton visuals.
But you're the one who said it could move over. I'm just saying that.
No,
I
I'm saying
watched
that Batman's that music from Batman Begins and The Dark Knight and what Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard did in Batman Begins is to me more powerful than the very sort of classic sounding Batman '89, which sounds, even though it is Danny Elfman and he's a master at what he does, it is very 90s. He also did the theme music for the Flash.
Keep going
TV
back
show.
to 90s, but your show is the most like new metal, like Trent Reznor
I didn't get to my
song
show.
there is on the list.
I didn't get to my show.
And paired with the visuals from the theme song, your show tells me nothing. It tells me Terry McGinnis. It's like Batman, young Batman. That's what your theme song is.
Yes, that's the thing that it's showing. It's not showing the Batman that we all know because, like you said, it's a different Batman. But like overall, like the message about Batman, that thing so didn't touch it well. It touches a lot better, like you said, in the Dark Knight movies, the Hans Zimmer movies, and also the animated series, the Batman animated series. It touches a lot better.
Because you guys are talking about a different Batman. My Batman is Terry McGinnis. He has different ideas of what it is to be Batman. So,
But the
for
fact
all
that
of
they
those
exist in the
reasons,
same world as the Batman we're talking about, when you have them like side by side, it's like comparing like the cool kick-ass grandpa to the wimpy like teenager. Like,
who's grandpa the cool kick-ass? What are you talking about? Cool kick-ass
Bruce
grandpa.
Wayne.
All right, let's focus. Raul, I want to start getting your final thoughts on this round. Why is the X-Men animated series better than the other two choices?
First, like between the other two choices, the X-Men animated series had a difficult job, and also it's the 90s, and every era you're gonna do a team is gonna be dated like 20 or 30 years. Like, let's say the Batman Adam West, so so you know it's the 60s. So in the 90s, you know that the Batman animated series is not very dated. You can notice the Danny Elfman score, so it sounds a lot better. But the Batman Beyond, you can feel that it's those types of 90s songs. They're like you can feel it dated. And also in my show, okay, it can feel dated, but it had a difficult job to encapsulate all of those characters, because you're talking about the X-Men is like 40 different mutants between villains and heroes, and also there's a lot of the turmoil between the whole thing, because they also introduced the Sentinels, introduced all the humans that want to destroy the X-Men. And also introduces also Professor X versus Magneto, so their friendship and the war between them. And so that is why the council is even better for the people that read the comics, and also when they show up and when watching the comic book series, the animated series, sorry, because it is more better about the team. So we're talking about the team that represents the heroes. So that is why I chose the X-Men the animated series. And between both of them, Batman the animated series is a lot better team.
Tom, final thoughts.
So the reason I chose Danny Elfman's 1989 theme song for Batman is because we still hear it today. It's still relevant. It set the entire tone for the animated series. I don't know if the animated series would have been had so much roots in its noir setting if it wasn't for that theme. I think that the music for Hector's hurts the show in the long run, and I think the song choice for Raul could equally work in a car commercial. It's there to sell kids at Saturday o'clock in the morning, where opposed to, I don't know what Hector's was trying to do, maybe wake up kids on Saturday morning because it's loud and abrasive. But mine was there to tell you that a good story, you were about to see a good story, and no matter if it was the Lego Batman, if it was the animated series, if it was Tim Burton's movie, it has transcended generations, and it will continue to do so.
All right, and Hector.
I think that the Batman Beyond theme is better than both of these other themes, which have their merits, certainly, because it is the most specific to the character. The only criticisms I heard was that it doesn't work as a Batman theme. Well, it's not Batman. It's Batman Beyond. It's Terry McGinnis. It's a different character. When you listen to that, what you do hear is something new. And even though it is industrial rock, which is very Nine Inch Nails, very 90s, it also is techno, which is the most futuristic sounding of the themes that we're hearing. It's not classical, it's not classically scored, and that serves the character. Every time you listen to it, it's still one of the most futuristic, if not the most futuristic, superhero themes, and we are 20 years past when this cartoon show premiered. I think that the X-Men 90s show is very 90s, and it is repetitive, and I think that Batman 89, that there's been better Batman themes since then. I'm talking about the Hans Zimmer scores for the Dark Knight films, and there's also better Danny Elfman work. I think that the Danny Elfman theme tries to echo previous movie themes like John Williams' Superman score, which is fine, and I think that it's served very well for that time, and I think the only reason we're still hearing it today in things like Lego Batman is for the nostalgia reasons, and it may be less expensive to get that music than it is some of the Hans Zimmer stuff from Warner Brothers. So Batman Beyond's the best.
Wow, well fought. Before I go to the fact-checking, just to remind everybody at home, if you'd like to follow us along on Twitter, the hashtag for our fight is ThisIsTuff. That's TUFF. So feel free to tweet at us and join in the conversation. Ash and Joe, what do we got?
All right, would you like facts first?
Facts first.
All right, so Hector is correct. The composer of the X-Men theme, Ron Wasserman, also composed the Mighty Morphin Powers Go-Go Power Rangers theme. Raul's correct that Elfman did make a variation of the original score for the animated series. He originally didn't even want to do the score, but after Tim reached out to another composer, he changed his mind. So it's a slight variation, and in a lot of the countdowns, though, I was checking to see like what the #1 superhero theme was. Superman from '78 came up #1 a lot. X-Men was on a few countdowns. The Batman theme was on a few, and then Batman Beyond, sadly, had not cracked any of those countdowns.
What did Twitter have to say?
Luke and Calvin both wanted to pitch for Darkwing Duck because they feel they need to be dangerous. Billy also said Superman. I'm sure I saw some other ones there. Langley agrees wholeheartedly with Hector. He was swaying to the theme while watching the episode. Morgan suggested the Raimi Spider-Man movie, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies themes, which are pretty decent, personally. Yeah, Elfman. Though he does agree of the choices with Tom. Sam, our Sister Mary Elephant, wants to go with Roger Ramjet. And Janine and Travis both say Ninja Turtles all the way. Brian wanted to point out that he uses the X-Men theme song for his ringtone. It's like his go-to ringtone. Though if he chose one, it'd probably be Underdog, and I wholeheartedly agree. I also saw some love for Danger Mouse, which is near and dear to my heart.
I'm surprised no one picked the Wonder Woman theme from Batman v Superman. Probably the only good theme to come out of that movie. Yeah. Anyway, although that's not played on a guitar, even though I just air guitared that, I believe it's like an electric oboe or something. But it's amazing. I love that theme.
Electric oboe.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Electric, I don't know. It's not on a guitar.
I want an electric oboe now, man.
You can fact check that because I'm completely wrong, but it's not on a guitar. I know it's not on a guitar. So, as always, these are tough rounds. When I was looking through my notes here, I think the real I love X-Men the Animated Series. I just don't know that I really got enough about it in this particular fight. Everybody was really focusing on the Batmans. And so it was kind of hard not to focus on the Batmans for me. So even though, Raul, I do love that theme, for me it's between Tom and Hector. Tom, the big thing I heard was how it brought in from the movie and the animated series, that similarity and how good that theme is across the board. Hector, clearly a very personal choice for you. I could definitely tell, though, that the character being presented, it was better it served the character, is the way I wrote it down, by having the music be the way it is. I think that when I was trying to make a choice between the two, I think what really got me is the similarity between the movie and the TV show. Like, when I think of that theme, I do think of the movie more than the animated series. That's what Tom picked. I think there's a reason they used it, again, in the animated series, which you kind of point out. For me, as much as I like the personal choice that Hector made, it comes down, I'm giving the point to Tom. So, Tom, congratulations.
Thank you.
You win round one. That was
I'm going to throw out there that Twitter 100%, or not 100%, 56% agrees with you.
I was going to say, if it was 100%, hot damn.
That means Tom is the only one that voted.
56% for Batman, and 33% for X-Men, and we have 11% for Batman Beyond.
This was all just a ploy to get more people to start watching Batman
Exactly,
Beyond.
because I had forgotten what the theme was, so we looked it up. I'm like, oh, I used to like this show. We should probably give it a rewatch.
Go. It's great.
Can we also have a little respect for the Justice League Unlimited episode that features all the Batman Beyond stuff?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Warhawk, for sure.
All right, guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
I forgot to mention that the Batman theme was a Grammy winner for Best Instrumental Composition. I brought that up in a previous episode, so I thought I'd bring that up again.
All right, guys. Round two. We are doing something new. This is our first blind fight. So here's what's going to happen. I asked this question. Who is the best Joker in movie or TV. And what I've done is I've written down 5 names. So we have Jared Leto from Suicide Squad, Heath Ledger from The Dark Knight, Jack Nicholson from Batman 1989, Mark Hamill from the animated series, or Cesar Romaro from the original television show with Adam West. And what we're going to do today is, rather than having them pick one, we're going to blind pick. You're going to get someone at random, and then you're going to have to fight why that is the best Joker. And it is Tom's turn to go first. Tom, I'd like you to choose a number between 1 and 5.
4.
Okay. Hector, you can't pick 4.
I'll pick number 1, please.
All right. And Raul, you can't pick 1 or 4.
Number 3.
Number 3. Oh, Tom's glad you picked that one. All right.
Oh,
So here's what you're fighting today. Tom, you are going to be battling for Mark Hamill from the animated series.
Oh, man, I was worried.
Hector, you will be fighting for Heath Ledger's The Dark Knight.
Oh.
And Raul, you really like Suicide Squad, didn't you? Because Jared Leto is your choice. So don't think you're the underdog here. But you're going last, so you have plenty of time to come up with a really good argument. So, Tom, we are going to start with you. Hit us up with Mark Hamill.
I'm sorry, I'm a little in awe right now because Mark Hamill is a voice acting genius. He's able to convey such an arrangement, and the argument may be that he's an animated character. The Joker's an animated character, and he nails that to a T. I feel like he's the definitive Joker. He still keeps coming back. He's like, oh, I'm done, and then he still keeps coming back. He's been in games, theatrical releases of movies as the Joker, as we've seen in The Killing Joke. And his work on the animated series is unparalleled to anything. You want a good Harley Quinn and Joker love story? That's the one you go to. You watch the episode Mad Love. You don't watch Suicide Squad.
All right, Hector, you're fighting for Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger won he posthumously won an Oscar. He won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. The Dark Knight 2008 was nominated for an Oscar, and it was for Best Supporting Actor. Heath Ledger's performance in this was one of the most groundbreaking, surprising, shocking performances in the past 20 years of a major motion picture. Heath Ledger brought so much originality to this role. He put so much work and effort into researching this role that a lot of people say that it in fact killed him because of the different types of psychosis and deep, dark places of the mind that he was going. He kept a journal. He was doing all of this without sending dead rats to his co-stars, but focusing on his own performance. It was a new take on the Joker. It was Christopher Nolan's vision of making this character with war paint and who had scars on his face work in a sort of more real-world setting. Despite all of that, his Joker is one of the most charming and, dare I say, attractive and handsome and hilarious iterations of the character, despite what the material is doing. The material is trying to to bring everything to a realistic place, and Heath Ledger is able to take these little lines and little moments and little tweaks with his performance and make it hilarious, gut-bustingly funny. It allows you a release where you're watching a really tense scene. And the thing that Heath Ledger has above all other Jokers is, on top of all of that, I mean, he dresses up like a nurse and he's hitting a button and it's not quite working. He sits down with Harvey Dent, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "Hi." Yeah, hi. It's just so funny. Despite all of that, Heath Ledger's Joker is also the most terrifying. And that's really difficult to do with a clown. That's really difficult to do with a character who has a sense of humor and who is a lot of the times the comedic relief. Again, compared to Batman, that's what the Joker brings to the Batman-Joker dynamic. Is that he lets you laugh in the stories where Batman's world is otherwise very dark and he's very serious and very grim. Heath Ledger's Joker is the most terrifying version of this character. The moment you see the scene with the hidden camera, or not hidden camera, but the close-up camera on himself that he's holding himself as he is torturing and about to kill a guy, it is haunting. It is haunting. So this is a performance that people will be talking about for the rest of our natural lives in cinema history, and the proof in that is that any live-action actor that comes after that is not going to come close. It is a very difficult role to recast, and the entire movie threequel, the part 3 of the Dark Knight trilogy, was changed because Heath Ledger passed away. It was originally going to be the Joker. If his performance wasn't up to snuff, they would have recast him and continued Christopher Nolan's story and his idea with Batman versus the Joker. But because he died, they went, we got to scrap everything that we were thinking of doing, and let's try to come up with something different. And we're not even going to mention what happens to this character who was left alive at the Dark Knight. Heath Ledger, best.
All right. Raul. Jared Leto, Suicide Squad.
Okay, first, te odio, Jack. Second, okay, it was I hate you, Jack. Okay, no, so first, Jared Leto had the difficult task of going after Heath Ledger. He had the most difficult task because Heath Ledger's performance is so iconic. It's like nobody can be better than him. No one can be. It's gonna take like a clone of Heath Ledger to portray that Joker. But what Jared Leto did first, this actor has like a contract with the devil. He's like 55 years old. He looks like 25. And so if the DCU continues like for 10 years, it's gonna look the same. So that's a first. He's gonna age well. The second one, they tried to do like a different kind of Joker. Like the thing that benefits from him is like he's like a gangster. He has the grail, he has the tattoos, and also he portrays the evilness and also the crazy that he is, the more tormented that he is. Because what Heath Ledger did, it was being more realistic, being that world in the real world. So what Jared Leto needed to do is like to be between realistic and between the comic book line, because the DCU, we don't know it's the actual time. We don't know it's like in Marvel. Like in Marvel, it's in real time with real threats, like in the real world. But in the DCU, they never mention like different wars, like that deleted scene in Batman vs Superman. Like I don't know if it was Iraq or Arabia. I forgot that war scene. But also Jared Leto portrays everyone's gonna say he was like for 10-15 minutes, but in those 10-15 minutes the way that Jared Leto portrayed the Joker was to introduce the Joker to this DC universe, because he was only in the Suicide Squad movie because Warner Bros. Say, hey, we need something to sell more, like with Heath Ledger. Like it's gonna be a bad comment, but Heath Ledger's death sold the Dark Knight, because a lot of people went to see that movie because he was dead, because he was his last performance. So we need something. It's going to be controversial like Heath Ledger. So that is why we picked that guy from 30 Seconds from Mars. Number 2, we need more controversial. Put out like he's like a gangster, like a half Mexican, half black guy, but he's dressed like a clown. And also the other thing, of course, Mad Love is better in the animated series. But those 5 minutes, that love between him and Margot Robbie, they portrayed the craziness about the Joker and Harley Quinn very well. And also another thing about the Joker, like in Heath Ledger's performance, he was like more realistic. He wanted to destroy the world, and he never portrayed like that craziness like in the comic or the animated series. And Jared Leto was a mixture of both. He can portray the laugh, he portrayed the craziness, and also he gave it a twist. So that is why I'm defending Jared Leto.
All right. Guys, fight it out.
All right, so I feel like we should just wipe Leto out right now quick because it has no chance. Leto is a Die Antwoord, juggalo-looking abomination that should have no footing in the DCU. None of the design choices that they did for him had any purpose. If they used the grill to tell the story, like maybe when he met Harley Quinn, he had all of his teeth, and then he lost some, and then he had to get a grill, but none of those traits paid off. If you read the novelization of Suicide Squad, it's actually more in sync to the philosophy of the Joker. He in the novel, he goes and they go to the tank, and she jumps in, and he just stands there waiting for her body to float up because the whole thing was just for her to die, like he was getting ready to get rid of her. Then she didn't, and he got bored and jumped in. In the movie, they didn't even address that. I was watching interviews with Jared Leto, and he was like, well, the motivation for this movie is that, he's just there to get Harley Quinn. I mean, who's more important than her? Batman. Batman's more important than her. If she's not in the picture, then he doesn't care. Like, Harley Quinn needs to be on the Joker's radar for it to matter. The only reason it mattered in Assault on Arkham was because Harley Quinn stumbled upon the Joker and then released him. And if they did that in Suicide Squad, it would have redeemed it. But he had no business being in the movie other than fan service. The joke was on everyone who bought a ticket to see him. And as far as Ledger, Raul brings up a good point. I didn't want to go there, but a controversy sells tickets, and as much as you can't badmouth anybody but Leto, so that's not my gripe with it. I just think that, would he have won an Academy Award if he hadn't died? No other comic book person had before, and I think since. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. That's not to say I think that they had to make such a drastic change because Mark Hamill had made such an iconic Joker for years and years and years before that.
I don't think that Christopher Nolan, as good as he is at filming the movies and being a director, I don't think that anything animated was ever on his radar. I don't think that they're looking at the animated series and going, oh, the Latino Bane was so iconic, let's do a British Bane. I don't think he gave a shit, and that's not just him. I think that's Warner Brothers, the movie studio in general, never cared about what the animated people were doing. I think that his version of the Joker was really created to sort of fit his vision and his world. I think that Jared Leto's Joker has two strikes against it. He is not scary with the scenes that he's in, and he's also not funny. There's a moment where Ike Barinholtz, who's with a prison guard, is sitting down, and he turns behind him and he goes, yeah, you're really killing it, to that guy that's chopping meat in Suicide Squad. And I'm like, that's the funniest part in this scene, and the Joker's in this scene, which is it's a real strike against what Jared Leto was trying to do in his performance and how that came across. I think that Mark Hamill's Joker had the best writing. It had some of the best writing, but I think that Mark Hamill, as a performer, he's a great voiceover actor, but I think he's also very over the top because that works for animation. I don't think he can nail some of those quieter, dramatic moments. I think that he
You can't tell me that Heath Ledger,
absolutely, he nailed it. No. He is not as scary. Mark Hamill's not as scary as Heath Ledger is as the Joker. Mark Hamill,
I think the state that Mark Hamill's Joker leaves people with a permanent smile and a comatose condition is worse than killing anybody.
It's very great for animation. It's really cartoony.
He drives home the one bad day. He drives home the one bad day plot line far better than yours does. And
well, that's a dumb plot line. I don't think that the
Joker... No, it's not. That's the basis of the Joker. That's the basis.
I disagree.
He's not even crazy. You guys keep saying he's crazy. He's not. He's a nihilist.
Never said he was crazy. I think
you agreed, Raul. You were shaking your head with Raul when he was talking, so I won't say it was verbal
because
agreement.
Raul was fighting very valiantly, I will say that. But I don't think that the Joker works when we reveal his origin. Just to do a little tangent and kind of talk shit about the Killing Joke for a second, because I've been wrestling with this for the past few months. I just watched the animated movie. I reread the comic a little bit ago, and I don't like that the Joker's origin was hinted at or explained as to be a guy who just had a bunch of bad stuff happen to him. I'm sorry, I don't like that. I think that the Joker works the best where you know nothing about him, where he is an agent of chaos. And the Christopher Nolan movie, the Dark Knight movie, did the best version of that because it hinted at his possible backgrounds. But the best line in The Killing Joke is, if I were to have a past, I would want it to be multiple choice. That's what Christopher Nolan literally did in The Dark Knight, and you don't know whether he's lying or telling the truth in any of those three backstories that he gives. And the Joker works the best as an agent of chaos. I don't want his powers explained. I don't want to know that he's doped up on some sort of drug where he's able to take punch from Batman. I just want him to be an unstoppable force taking on the immovable object. That's who the Joker is. That's why Heath Ledger's Joker is the best version. Mark Hamill cannot nail some of those quieter, more dramatic moments. He's great for animation. He's very over the top. I just watched The Killing Joke, and the weakest parts of those movies is where they're dependent on Mark Hamill's performance to carry some of that stuff. Because that sort of performance, it does not work for The Killing Joke. The
Joker has to be as equal to his counterpart.
Tom, make this your final thoughts for me.
Sure. Sure. Batman, Kevin Conroy had Mark Hamill. They were both strong. They were both the strongest versions of the characters together, I feel. If you have one of those points weak, it's going to show. The reason Joker was so good was because Batman was so bad in that movie. Like, that's why he got the best performance, was because Bale was phoning in the entire time. I feel like, unfortunately, his death definitely has a lot to do with the mass appeal, especially the marketing. You could see people getting Heath Ledger tattoos and spray painting it onto their cars and everywhere. It's definitely an icon. But Mark Hamill's has transcended. He's the multiverse Joker. In your Batman Beyond show, he came back, and he came back voiced as Mark Hamill. The new Joker actor they hired, Troy Baker, sounds exactly, well, almost, sounds just like Mark Hamill. It's definitely how the Warner Brothers views the character, if they're going to hire an actor to do pretty much an impersonation of Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is the strongest. He has been the strong, like, you can tell me that Killing Joke wasn't great, but if you're comparing that movie to everything else that he's done, even his appearance in Mask of the Phantasm, which is one of the greatest Batman movies there'll ever be, Mark Hamill is the answer.
All right, Hector, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Heath Ledger's performance is so good that when you watch The Dark Knight, you're going to want to fast forward anything that Christian Bale is doing with Bruce Wayne or Batman, because we've seen that before, because it's boring. And time after time, rewatching, Heath Ledger's performance is so watchable and so entrancing. I think that Mark Hamill's Joker is the best for animation, but I don't think that's the best iteration of the Joker that we've seen or we will ever see, and I believe it's The Dark Knight. I think that even though Heath Ledger's death caused a lot of interest in the film, I think that the reason it made over $1 billion is because people went back over and over and over again and rewatched it. And I think that the reason it's such a big hit on home video and people still claim it as one of the best movies of all time is because the quality of the performance is there. If it was something like, don't mean to talk shit about my boy Brian O'Connor from the Fast and the Furious franchise, Paul Walker. Paul Walker, you know, he's a great, solid actor, but that performance is not something that people are going to want to tune in when they see Furious 7. What they tune in for that for is that morbid curiosity. That actor passed away. How are they going to pay tribute to him? And it was very respectfully well done, and it was really sad. But you don't watch Paul Walker's performance and go, you got it, this guy killed it on his last. That's not what that is. What Heath Ledger did with the Joker is something that will never be able to be touched by any other actor, whether they're playing the Joker or somebody else.
All right, and Raul?
Okay, first, against Mark Hamill, he did it like over the top because he is a great voice. No one can deny it. But between also Heath Ledger, or like Hector said, he's very iconic. He's legendary. No one can overthrow him. But what my Joker did, all of those choices of Mark Hamill and also of Heath Ledger, they overshadow Batman in his own movie and series. What Jared Leto did in Suicide Squad, if you really see that movie well, the performance that were overshadowing Joker was Will Smith as Deadshot and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. They were the main focus. So for Jared Leto, that's a plus for my choice because the Joker was not an important part. He was a side character. He was important to the Mad Love story. And also, in every adaptation of every movie, comic book, books, every fanboy, every person is going to be mad because they changed something about the character. In every story, they're going to do the same. They wanted to adapt Jared Leto in a different kind of Joker, and we're going to have different Jokers in the future. So, for Jared Leto, for those 10-15 minutes that he was shown on, he did great. And also, the side that Hector said, and this is a personal opinion, I know people's gonna crucify me in the comments and Twitter, but they gave him that posthumous Oscar because he was dead. He was only for ratings.
That's what a posthumous Oscar is.
Yes. So
no, but only because he was dead.
No, I know. I'm a little agreeing.
No, they did it because of ratings. Because everybody was talking about The Dark Knight, so they did it because of ratings. If you analyze the story about the Oscars from that year to now, they always gave one award to cause ratings, and also that's right.
I have to end this round before anybody does crucify you, Raul. Guys, well fought. What are some of the facts checking that need to be done?
Jokers. You did that too.
I'm sorry, you're back.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
I just said it's okay. What were the facts for this round?
All right, so lots of opinions, but a few things just to kind of reiterate. Heath Ledger won, of course, the posthumous Oscar. Also, a total of 32 awards for that performance, all posthumously, of course. There's really not a whole lot of Jared Leto in the Suicide Squad. Some sources say he has more screen time in the Rick Ross video than in the actual movie. He also claims that there is enough footage to make a whole movie out of just the Joker stuff, but Ayer says there's probably about 10 minutes worth of deleted scenes. And also the inspiration for the Joker, Leto's Joker, was the drug lords of Instagram, whatever that's supposed to mean. I guess I'm not following the right accounts. Mark Hamill has played the Joker over at least 8 different series, according to my source, maybe more. Jared Leto's also said that about the Heath Ledger performance that he was perfect as a Joker, and there's not a single frame where he's not great. So.
What did Twitter have to say, Joe?
We have a lot of very interesting opinions. Casey counted Raul out from the get-go, but wished him luck.
It's not Raul's fault that he got that.
Billy does kind of agree with Tom that Ledger was great, not to besmirch him, but Hamill is better, and Ledger's performance, I guess you could say it was magnified by the fact that he was a lost actor to this role. In the eyes of the public. Not that it was actually that, but, whatever. Luke Cooley suggested that Ledger was perfect for the tone of The Dark Knight, but as the Joker as a whole, not necessarily. We have a few other things that Brian suggests Raul should get 2 points for fighting this round super valiantly. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of back and forth, and I'll get to the poll on what this was once we're.
All right, so Raul, look, you didn't win, but it's not your fault. You had the hardest choice. I think if it was Jared Leto versus Cesar Romero and Jack Nicholson, you probably could have had a really good shot at winning. But just to say, you fought Jared Leto very well. You probably gave him the best accolades you could possibly give him for that performance. So well done. But it's between Tom and Hector. What I have here basically is one really good Oscar-worthy performance, and one performance that spans multiple platforms. So that was really the crux of the argument. But I think Raul said it best when he said, "No one can be better than Heath Ledger," and I think that it's pretty much the case. Hector did argue that the best. Hector, you win the point for round 2. Congratulations. So what did they say on Twitter?
They vehemently disagree with you, Jack.
Really?
Yes. Mark Hamill scored 70% of the poll.
Wow.
With Heath Ledger scoring 30%, which means Jared Leto whopping goose egg.
Wow. Well,
I love everyone who's watching this.
I'm going to throw out for my own opinion. I had a lot of hopes because I like Jared Leto as an actor. And I had a lot of hopes going in for him, but
yeah, I didn't hate it. It wasn't a terrible role. It was fine. I just think that we didn't really see enough of it. I was intrigued enough that I want to see more, but until they come up with whatever he's in next, I hope he's in the solo Batman movie. I hope it's about him.
I think that despite all of the thing that really irked me about the Leto Joker was just the visual component, just that fake cholo thing. That thing really bugged me.
I don't
despite
understand
all of
who
that,
the audience is.
Yeah. Despite all of that, I think that Jared Leto's performance is not the worst part about Suicide Squad. I think that performance and that footage was gutted. Just the editing and stuff really hurt that performance. Also, I think
it's really funny too because a lot of people complained about Jared Leto being a gang boss kind of thing, that he had a gang going on. Yeah. But when they were complaining about it, they compared it to Heath Ledger's Joker. I'm well, traditionally the Joker has had a gang. He is a criminal empire. So there's that, and I liked that they tried to appeal to that of it, but
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Jack, just wanted to know which was number 2. I wanted to pick that one.
Cesar Romero is number 2.
Oh my God! Okay,
and Nicholson was 5. So in that round. So all right, let's go on to round 3, which I call Superhero Sing Street. It was announced in early August that Supergirl and the Flash would have a crossover episode that would be a musical crossover episode. So there are rumors that are coming out about what this episode's going to be. Don't worry about what they're saying it's going to be. We're going to pitch it today. So that was the task before everybody. Pitch the musical episode of crossover between Supergirl and Flash. We are going to start this round with Hector.
All right. This is an easy one, guys. A no-brainer. Neil Patrick Harris reprises his role as the Music Meister from the animated show Batman the Brave and the Bold, which was a really brilliant episode, in Flash's Earth 1, and he tries to take over the multiverse, but we really only see like Supergirl's Earth and maybe little multiverse glimpses, right? There's no huge effects in the greater multiverse for just the purposes of the show. Before the Music Meister from Flash's Earth can break through to the other side, music reference, Supergirl hops over to Earth 1 and helps Flash put an end to his schemes. You get special cameos by Green Arrow, Vixen, Constantine, the Atom, Hawkgirl, the Rogues, etc., all from the Arrowverse, showing each character affected by Music Meister's power, which means that they're all singing. So that's it.
All right. Raul, give us the basis of your pitch.
Okay. First, there's a rumor that maybe Kevin Smith is going to direct it. So my pitch is a lot better because it's very meta. So my title is Gleeful Heroes and Villains. The overall is that Barry Allen in the CW Earth, he receives a message that Supergirl was kidnapped and taken to a different Earth. So he goes to this Earth to save Kara, to save Supergirl, but he notices that he goes to the Lama Bean coffee shop, and then he looks at Kara. But it was like, hey, you were like kidnapped or something? It was like, no, my name is Marley Rose. I assisted a long time ago in a click-up call in the McKinley High School. And so Barry Allen sees a video on YouTube that she sings very badly. She sings Wrecking Ball in a horrible voice, like in Glee Season 4. So we cut out we see Supergirl kidnapped by Sebastian Smythe. He was a villain in Glee Season 3. He wanted to straight up Blaine and Kurt. So his power, he was posing as the Flash, so he kidnapped Kara, he drugged her with some, let's say, kryptonite something, like kryptonite alcohol or something. So that is why the thing that she's left her. So Sebastian Smythe's power is like he can sing, but he's killing your mind slowly. So he's singing like some lines, singing in the rain, with his smirk and his smile, the villainous smile that he had on Glee. So my pitches are like doppelgangers. So we don't need guest stars. We don't need any special guest stars or like persons from the comics. It's like a doppelganger / meta episode between Supergirl, Flash, and also Glee.
All right, that's fantastic. Tom, how do you top that?
So my Flash Supergirl crossover is entitled Crescendo. It will be directed by Will McKenzie, who did the musical episode of Scrubs called My Musical. And the music will be written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is the writer and musical compositioner for Hamilton. You may have heard of it. So my story is pretty much the villain is going to be Mordred, who is Morgan Le Fay's son. You may notice him from the DC animated universe. He's the child who turns all the heroes into kids at one point and splits the dimensions using this stone. So I'm going to use this stone for this version of him. And he's going to be played by Finn Wolfhard, who is Mike from Stranger Things. And so the Flash, all of a sudden, he gets a call saying that this museum's being broken into. And he gets there, and there's this little kid. He calls him Joffrey because he's like in a crown and he has a medieval thing on. And this kid's confused, and he's like, well, where are you supposed to be? And all of a sudden, the Flash breaks into a tap dance routine, and he starts singing a song called Quick in My Heels, introducing the concept of the Flash and what he means to Central City. Mordred gets bored, and he leaves. Supergirl cuts the hair. For me, I'm assuming that the universes are combined now because of Flashpoint, so let's just assume that for that, and I won't argue that point on yours. So Supergirl sings a song called Porchlight, and it's her leaving her house, and it's, she goes up to the stars and she's singing. It's a very much a part of your world kind of vibe, and she's talking about, like, she could still see the lights of her home because it takes so much time to see it explode in the sun and blah, blah, blah. So we cut to Cisco and the gang, kind of reminiscent of Buffy's Once More feeling, discussing what could this possibly be. Anyone who doesn't know Cisco, he's a remarkable singer outside of real life, and I think his talents could be shown. It's pretty much a roll call of villains they've gone through, and they try to figure out, who could be behind this, when all of a sudden, rise, rise, rise again, a demon, played by John Hamm, shows up in Star Labs, a demon named Etrigan. So he pretty much tells him, like, all right, so this is what's going on. He's got this magical stone. The threat isn't that everyone's singing. The threat is that this kid's easily bored, and once he's bored, what is he going to do with the stone after that? So he gives the Flash a sword and Supergirl a shield to fight him at the end. And then, there's a few more musical cues, and I'll get into that later. And it's a full-on musical. I wrote it.
All right. Good luck, guys. Fight.
Okay, first of all, Tom, good luck getting Lin-Manuel, dude. Also, good luck getting John Hamm, bro. Also,
you
could probably
good luck getting John Hamm, Kimmy Schmidt, Wet Hot American Summer. There's no way that he wouldn't turn down a role like this.
No.
And
I don't know. Those are his friends, Kimmy Schmidt
so
and Wet Hot American Summer.
Who would you have direct yours?
The rumor is that it's Joss Whedon, and it's perfect because Joss
so why
Whedon,
am I not watching Dr. Horrible 2?
Exactly. You are going to be watching Dr. Horrible 2, but in the Supergirl Flash world, which is in many, many ways so enjoyable. Yeah, that's why it's perfect. The rumor is going to be it's Joss Whedon. I'm going with Joss to direct it because he's, like you said, he worked with Neil Patrick Harris as Dr. Horrible. The Music Meister is a different character, but it's essentially going to be Dr. Horrible invades the Flash / Supergirl world, which is going to be so much fun. No, because it's Flash and Supergirl, which are really cool as well.
But here's the thing:
so
how is your villain even going to affect Flash or the Supergirl?
The Music Meister has powers that take over the heroes and characters and makes them.
No. I saw the episode.
Yeah.
There were specific people who weren't there. Superman and the Flash were not there. You know who was there? The people who did get affected: Aquaman, Black Canary, and Green Arrow. Not much threats. There's no reason Cisco would be on it in a Flash. He already gives out the police all this anti-metahuman stuff. All it takes is earplugs. I saw the episode. You just got to put earplugs in.
Okay, guys, you're talking about cost. My pitch is going to save a lot of cost. We don't need any guest stars. We don't need any cameos from the
Yours is a crossover, and you're wasting all of the talent that's already on the Flash and Supergirl.
It's a reference. We don't need any characters from the Green Show. So this is a crossover, like when Flash go to the Supergirl world. So we don't need any extra characters. We don't need any special guest stars. If this was a real pitch in Hollywood, you cannot get Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's on Beauty and the Beast. He's doing the Moana theme. He's the Little Mermaid. He's busy guy. He just quit
Look, we can't talk about what they will or won't do because we already know they're probably going to do Music Meister. So we can't use that as a basis of argument whether a person would or would not do the show.
Okay, and also the final scene in my pitch is Flash is gonna save Supergirl. Supergirl is almost dying, so the only way that Marley, the doppelganger of Supergirl, she sings "We Can't Stop" from Miley Cyrus. She never sang it in Glee. She sings it so horribly that Sebastian bleeds his ears out, but he's bleeds a lot. He dies of the horrible singing of Marley. That Barry Allen never can show to Marley how to sing better, so he lets it slide. They kill the villain, and so at the end, Barry saves Kara. They go back to the CW Earth. That's my pitch also because that is the way that Supergirl is gonna bring back her back to the CW.
Oh, but she's gonna leave all of her friends on her other Earth row. She's gonna leave. No, it's got to be a multiverse adventure. It's got to
Yeah,
be a
I
different
don't-
universe thing.
Wait. And so, like, Supergirl is not gonna be yet on the CW because it's gonna be like the 7th episode, that musical episode. So she's gonna be in another. That's the way, the meta way, and also the way that crossovering the universe. That's the way that the Flash is gonna bring her back to the CW Earth,
Raul.
and then the Flashpoint is gonna end.
Just because it's the meta way doesn't mean it's the better way.
In my way, it's the better way because talking about
A
cost.
three-show crossover is just going to be a train wreck. Why don't we concentrate on something that we get excited for every year? The crossover episodes for CW. Don't
Okay,
taint it.
Tom.
Don't
But
taint
your
it.
fish is
Keep
not
it-
gonna get Lin-Manuel Miranda, and so
Yeah.
and Hector's getting Neil Patrick Harris getting
I
back.
think we should concentrate on the story. My story is a magical villain. The only thing that would really affect Supergirl, she's not going to be affected by a telepathic thing. She is a base telepathic. Flash, he can't hear anything when he's running, so the only thing that's going to affect them is magic.
Didn't someone in the previous season of Supergirl mind control Supergirl?
Yes,
Hey,
I think
hey,
so.
you're the judge.
Hey, I'm just fact checking you. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying. Look. I kind of don't even want to count the first season of Supergirl as anything canon. I want to start fresh when they get to CW because that is a train wreck and a half. So let's not pretend that's good and that I'm going to ruin any part of that.
Let me hear a closing thought, starting with Hector. Sell me your pitch and why it's better than theirs.
Tom, you gotta understand, Supergirl is not for you, bro. That is a show for young kids, and she's not a base telepath in the show, and it's a fantastic show and very successful. And just because it's going over to CW, I don't think that they're going to merge it with universes. You can't throw in a little side reboot in your pitch for this musical episode.
What is
That's not
Flashpoint?
happening. That's not happening. That's not how
What
that's
is
going to work.
Flashpoint?
That's not how that's going to work.
Final,
That's the universe I said it in.
final thoughts. You
Your
can,
episode,
argue it.
sure. Tom's episode is too ambitious. Raul's relies too much on Glee knowledge, and he wants to cut out superhero cameos, which the way that this is going to work going forward is they're going to do a superhero crossover big episode probably once a season, right? A sort of a Crisis on Infinite Earths type thing. The fact that they're maybe doing a musical one, maybe directed by Joss Whedon, maybe having Neil Patrick Harris play probably the Music Meister, and they're not going to take advantage by having Stephen Amell's Arrow sing a thing, or Ray Palmer, played by Brandon Routh from Legends of Tomorrow, sing a song. That would be a waste. So my episode has the most fun, tongue-in-cheek explanation for this to actually go down in these superhero worlds. It allows a lot of those great cast members that used to be on Glee. The guy who plays Cisco on Flash is a beautiful singer. It allows a lot of these cast members that are young, fun, good-looking people to go and sing because they're really good at that. And it's going to be great for the fans. It's the most logical and the one that makes kind of the most sense logistically even. And it's probably what we're going to end up seeing. Those other two pitches, they just have too many variables that might not work out. So Music Meister, Flash, and then Supergirl pops over, and then we hear the Flash world get affected in a little like montage towards the end. And he's the Music Meister. It'll be great.
Raul.
Okay, first, Hector, good luck getting Joss Whedon to go back to a comic book thing because he's had enough after Avengers 2 and everybody that was laying him. And also he getting back to TV, like Tom said, is going to be Dr. Horrible 2 because Neil Patrick Harris is there. And so my idea is not like you have to have the Glee knowledge to see it because it's going to be like a references. And so we're going to slash, like it's going to be like a simple episode. It's not going to have like a lot of comic book references. It's going to be like one of those episodes like Monster of the Week, like type of Supernatural. It's going to be a distraction of all the overall storyline. And so you have a kind of a fun time because you're gonna show in the episode in this canon, in this on the articles that we're gonna show Barry Allen, Grant Gustin, and Melissa Benoist when they were singing on Glee. They're gonna show up in those terms. So in my pitching, that we're gonna see how they sing. We're gonna see a slash meta thing, like they're gonna say, no, he sing better, now she sing worse. because a lot of the comments, because I watched Glee the whole damn 6 seasons because my sister loved that show. I only love it until season 3. And also Grant Gustin, when he was cast for The Flash, I was like, he's a bad guy. If you can see his performance on Glee, I was like, he can never be the Flash, and I was wrong. When he portrayed the Flash in the TV show, he portrayed it well, and I would love to see the Flash going against his doppelganger. That will be Sebastian Smite in my pitch, and also to see Melissa Benoist reflect that she sings horribly, lacking the Glee show, and seeing that Miley Cyrus song again. So, and also if Kevin Smith is gonna direct it because it's rumored. So he's gonna have a lot of fun to doing those jokes. So he's gonna love my pitch even better. And also it lays a lot of cost. Yours is gonna cost a lot, and also it's on the CW now. So that's my point.
All right, Tom, close this out.
Okay, so what I got from my pitch is that I've provided beat by beat not only original songs. I'm not going to have them do the Glee thing and they just rework a thing. Make it something original. It's not going to be the Neil Patrick Harris Variety Hour because they're just going to showcase him the entire time. They should be showcasing the people's talents who are already on the show. I'm having a guest appearance by John Hamm. He poofs in, poofs out. That's not too overzealous, and the fact that I planned out my story, especially, I have reprises. These are things that are important to a musical. You're pitching cool crossover episodes, but you have to keep in mind that the musical element has to work. And I agree with Raul. Joss Whedon might not jump onto a comic book thing right away. And again, Dr. Horrible 2. Mine is something that is plausible that could actually affect the heroes. And that could be okay. Supergirl and the Flash could literally deal with Music Meister in 20 seconds. Like, they just have to get to him, knock him out. That's it. That's all they have to do. At least with Magic, there's some source of like element, and to be introducing a new element into Flash, because we have Vandal Savage, and we have that crappy one from Arrow that I can't even remember, Damien Dark. Both horrible examples of mysticism. We are graced with a little bit of Constantine on there. Let's get a little bit more of that Justice League Dark in there. That's why I'm saying let's bring some new things to it while keeping it relevant, interesting, showcasing all the talents that the Flash and Supergirl's cast already have. There's no reason to be going elsewhere. That's my pitch.
All right, guys. Well done. Fact checkers.
All right. So there's a lot of steam for the rumor that Joss Whedon will be directing the musical episode, not so much for Kevin Smith, for at least directing the musical episode. And according to one source, it says that they'll have some, like at least one original song in the episode, but all the other songs are going to be like pre-existing songs. And then according to my quick search of what Flashpoint was, it seems to be that Barry Allen, he's the only one that notices there's differences between the timeline changes, but that was just a quick search because that's new to me. And apparently there's a difference between Cisco from The Arrow and Cisco who sang with Will Smith on that one movie where he was, Wild Wild West. So those are two different people. Spelling counts.
What did Twitter think?
In general, there's a lot of love for this whole round and the wackiness and the zaniness of it. There's a lot of people pointing out things like Langley made comment that having DC is WB and Glee is Fox, so there could be some little hiccups there with the style appropriation, we'll say. Calvin Hoskins thinks that if Neil Patrick Harris is going to be a villain, it should be Dark Horse.
From Dr. Horrible?
Yeah.
Bad Horse.
Bad Horse, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. I made a mistake.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, there's just a lot of love for this round in general. Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
All
and
right.
one more thing I forgot to mention. Apparently there's a planned 4-way crossover between Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl, so
Yeah,
I don't know
we've
when
heard
that's
that as
happening,
well,
but
actually.
that's a 4-way crossover sometime in the future.
I doubt it's going to be musical, though.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be musical, but just in the ether.
Yeah, I think the only musical one is actually going to be this crossover.
They just show up to be the chorus at the end.
So, just to remind everybody, it's not necessarily the one you're going to see. It's the one that's most creative to and the most passionate. because if I had to pick one that I'd want to see the most, it's going to be Hector's pick, which is the Joss Whedon NPH. I would love to see a Dr. Horrible, but I'd rather see Dr. Horrible too than him show up as Music Meister in this case, especially if Joss was the one to direct it. I think when I'm looking at the creativity of this round, you can't argue with gleeful heroes and villains. I think the wacky idea of just meeting those characters from Glee is so much fun. That's the one I want to see the most. I think that's the craziest, the one that was most creatively argued for. Raul, you get the point. Congratulations.
Yay! Finally.
All right, we're all tied up.
The poll is going to pull for Music Meister being the predominant one, with the gleeful heroes and villains being 17% and Mordred pulling in 16%.
Oh, wow, that was a close one, the second and third. It was well fought by everyone, though. I do like that round. That round is great.
My favorite thing about how Raul argues is he always says, and also, and then starts going again, and also, and then starts going again. It's so great.
Guys, great job. Let's move on to round 4, our final round. I think we're all tied up. So whoever wins this round will determine who goes into the lightning round, and then we'll have a tiebreaker to find out who will join them. We're on to round 4. I'm going to get this again just so I can write everything down. Okay. In this round, you're the producer of a remake of 1987's The Running Man starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. So what you're going to do today is you are going to cast the game show host that was originally played by Richard Dawson, Damon Killian. You're going to give me a new game show host to play that role, and then you're going to create your own stalker. You make him up from scratch and tell us his little gimmick and have fun with it. And for this round, we start with Raul. Who'd you get?
Okay, first I have the homework of seeing The Running Man. I had never seen that movie before, so I saw it. First, I understand that a lot of people, they say, oh, it's not the horror games. Yes, it has references from the horror games. And so, on The Running Man, the thing that I liked was the game show part. That everybody was statistically seeing a TV show, this type of game show, seeing people killing each other. So that was a good idea. For me, like, I like dark things and the horror things. So I was choosing between, like, different game show hosts. I was like, maybe I'm going to do the controversial thing, like changing something about the game show host. That is why I chose Wayne Brady, because first, Wayne Brady is very funny, and sometimes when I pop up the TV and I see Let's Make a Deal, so he's very funny, has his charm, has that charm of like a old 70s, 60s type of gentleman, and also he can do that same type of charm as being a villain and also being a game show host. So that's why I chose him as Damon Killian. And the stalker, I chose the Whisperer. Is portrayed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. His power is to whisper throughout the running men and the stalkers, right? Whispering something in their mind to kill each other. He wants to be the one that wins at the end. He doesn't want any stalkers to be in the competition, and he does any running man to survive. So he doesn't need to be a buff guy or a guy that is like 6 foot, 7, 8 foot tall guy. So I put out the Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's like in the corner, seeing. He's like the stalker way, because like a stalker, he's between the shadows. He says, let's say that Channing Tatum is the protagonist of my movie, and says, let's say that Channing Tatum is gonna slide through here, and then this stalker, they say, is John Cena. He's gonna kill himself, and then John Cena and Channing Tatum is gonna say, oh, so I kill him. And then I could put out, the whisper gonna put out a thought in the Chinese and say, no, go to the left side instead of the right side. And it's gonna be a trap after trap, and nobody, not even the stalkers and the running men, they're gonna notice that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like the puppeteer behind the shadows.
All right, Tom, who'd you pick?
When thinking about The Running Man, I kind of picked more of a grounded dystopia than I didn't think about doing mental powers and stuff like that. While that is a cool idea, my pick would be played by Andy Serkis, and his name is Scraps the Cannibal. One of the maybe tiny little flaws that I picked up in Running Man is that they send the people out into the field, onto the board, and then they let the contestants pick the person to come and hunt them down. Well, it's weird that they're already on the floor that are associated to those contestants. Like they're already at the hockey rink when Sub-Zero is the one who's picked.
Right.
So this would kind of provide that no matter where he's picked, he would be able to be associated with any of the levels. And he's not driven by the same thing as the other stalkers are. Some of them are egomaniacs. Some of them do it as a sense of honor. He's doing it because he's hungry. He doesn't get the glam of going back to the locker room, and hang out with future governors. He pretty much walks through the boards and eats whatever he can find. And if he can't find anything to eat, he might take a chunk out of his arm once in a while. He's mangled. He's probably the least favorite to deal with, but he's brutal. I think it'd be awesome. And the fact that you might just stumble across him.
Who's your game show host?
Drew Carey. Drew Carey, I think, is only looking scary and scarier the older he gets, which is fine. That works for some people, and I think it works for him in this case. He's got, I feel, when I watch The Running Man, I get that Price is Right vibe, like the audience participation, him coming up and talking to everybody, like, oh, what do you think? I definitely think it's fitting. He's an actor who's not only portrayed himself in a lot of things, he's portrayed other roles, and a lot. I think he brings he could bring a seriousness with that tone, especially that last scene where you see Arnold Schwarzenegger's character confront him, and he's like, "Oh, it's a part of the ratings. Don't you get it? Like it's all in." I can see Drew Carey turning on a dime like that in an instant. Whereas I feel like that's the best pick. I'll let other people talk now.
All right, Hector, and who'd you pick for your show?
I picked. I love that Richard Dawson was chosen for The Running Man to be like the host of The Running Man. I think that's so brilliant. It's so meta. So yeah, I like that we are all picking game show hosts to carry on that tradition. I went with Steve Harvey because I think Steve Harvey, truly, I think he's got like a really dark edge to him, which doesn't sound like it makes sense. But if you watch the way that he he's obviously sarcastic. He obviously has that classic sarcastic Family Feud, eye-rolling thing of like, oh, I can't believe this family said this thing, or I can't believe that they said that thing. But he's got this really interesting, like, some darkness to him, a little bit of that edge that I think that as an actor he would really like to play. I think that he's really good at reading people, which is why he's so good at his job and why he fell into from going from like a stand-up comic to doing the game show thing so well. So I think that if he played the host of The Running Man, that he would be so good at controlling the masses, controlling the audiences, getting them to look where he wants them to look, getting them to see what he wants to see. But then sort of behind the scenes, if he's yelling at people, if he's telling people what to do, if he's making sure that things go his way, I could see him doing that and being really terrifying. I would like it if he looked visually different than what we're used to, and he's got that classic mustache, shaven head look. So I would give him some kind of a wig, maybe some facial hair, something to make him look different than Steve Harvey, even to the point where people don't even recognize him. Like, oh my God, was that Steve Harvey? That's crazy. I think he'd do a great job. I picked as my stalker, one of the stalkers in the movie would be the samurai, who is a guy who is in good shape. He's equipped with 2 large katanas and throwing stars and armor, and it's very cliched and it's very stereotypical. He'd be played by actor Brian T. from the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. He played Shredder in the most recent Ninja Turtles movie. He was in The Wolverine with Hugh Jackman. He's a great actor. He's got a great look, and he's super fit. But the twist for my character would be that he would sort of be forced to be wearing that stuff, obviously, and at one point he throws it off and rebels at it, and either joins the good guy or just has his own agenda and tries to take him out and kill him, but sort of like tries to escape from the whole thing. So I would have, and I think Brian T. would be really good at that. So that's my pick.
Awesome. Guys, fight it out.
Hector, right off the bat, I'm going to have to say that your stalker is an amalgamation of 2 stalkers that already exist. Sub-Zero is already your samurai. And if you want somebody with a code of honor who refuses, yes, he is, to refuse to wear something and throw something off because of his sense of honor, you have Captain America. Those are characters that already exist and that you would be taking away from.
You mean Captain Freedom?
Captain Freedom, I'm sorry. If it was Captain America, I'd be scared. So the fact that like you'd be taking away from other characters, I feel like the whole appeal to my character is that if he's on your trail, like I was thinking about people could use him as like a bloodhound. Maybe he gets on your scent. Like I feel like Andy Serkis could do these really like creepy things from the shadows to keep them running. And as far as Raul's, Wayne Brady has gone on the record as saying he never wants to be seen as some kind of game show king, and I don't know if he would want to do a role that would associate him to a game show. Regardless, it is a cool role, so it's hard to say. But I just want to remind you of another good game show hosted by Drew Carey called Whose Line Is It Anyway? That somebody may have gotten their start on. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, okay. Tom, who was your stalker again?
His name is Scraps the Cannibal. He's got a little whimsy to him.
Okay. First, like Wayne Brady, he like I say, like he can be a charm. He can say like that scene with Damon Killing says with that old lady. It says, "Hey, whose stalker you gonna choose? Who you gonna bet on?" He said, "No, I bet on Richards." He will be like, "Okay, we'll be right back." So when we come to the car, he's gonna say like he's gonna change that mouth very quickly. Say, "Kill that bitch."
That's textbook game show host stuff.
That's the thing that I want from Wayne Brady. He can portray goodness and TV showness, and also he can portray darkness. That's the thing that I want. Like that scene when Damon Killian puts out Richards on that thing, that capsule. He can be now. Let's see, like the great killer of Richards is gonna slay the other running man and stalkers. Is gonna say, "You're never gonna survive," like very darkly.
Hashtag TV
with my stalker, like you said, it's a very good idea of mine because I really think it's a reboot or a remake. So your stalkers, they look very assimilated like the original ones in the movie. I put in a different one because like everything changes in reboots and remakes. So that is why
they shouldn't, Raul. Like
wait.
You gotta stay with the basics.
No, everything now in Hollywood, everything changes.
If you want it to be good, you keep it the same-ish.
No.
Look at Force Awakens.
Oh my God, that hasn't worked for anything but maybe the Force Awakens, right?
And look how well it worked.
No, but like you said, it's a very interesting character because you're never not gonna know about my character is gonna be playing for the good guys or the bad guys, or maybe he has his own agenda. That's the thing about my character. He's gonna be the most interesting stalker because this word says pitch a stalker. In the movie says it's a stalker. That guy is gonna kill the running man. So this stalker is gonna be of the competition. It's gonna destroy the other stalkers and the running men. So and also like you said, it has a power. That's the more interesting thing. It's gonna be a twist on the running man storyline. So
half of the movie is based on the fact that you can bet on this stuff. And do you know how hard you're gonna make the odds if you have a wild card in there that can kill anybody, that they can do whatever they want? It would be chaos. You wouldn't be able to do a real system of bidding. The odds would never be in your favor.
The running man is in a future where everything is chaos. You can see the house 63 other people being killed on the TV. You're giving the definition of my pitch. It's about chaos. So my character, my stalker, and my
It's about ordered chaos. It's like the Purge. They do it for a reason. They do it to focus crime in one spot instead of having it affect a whole area like a disease.
Because it affects the whole world. That's the thing about the running man. That is why my choice is most interesting. Is more gay show hosts like.
But you're changing so much of it that why can't we just have Arnold Schwarzenegger remake that rings true to the original?
No, and also
you're adding all these extra layers that we don't need.
No, like you said,
I added a stalker that would complement the rest of the stalkers as opposed to distract from.
Raul, why don't we start moving this towards final thoughts? Raul, kind of sell me on your pitch and why your pitch is better than the other two.
Okay, like I said, when Brady can portray both the TV game show host, like he does it in Let's Make a Deal, like in that scene when he goes, like in the real show in Let's Make a Deal, he goes through the people, he offers him some deals, and then he said, in like the scene that I just said, like, no, I'm gonna choose Richards. He's gonna say off camera, kill that bitch. He's gonna do the darkness thing. He's gonna do really well. Like every other people's gonna be like fooled by him. He's gonna see like, oh my God, we trusted on this guy. Even though our ideology is like, we see killing people on TV, but we trusted this guy. That's the thing about the Running Man. They trusted on Damon Killian. So that is why also it's going to be like slash betrayal of Damon Killian. So Wayne Brady is going to portray it very well between darkness and gay show host. And also about my stalker. And your stalkers, they're very like in the 80s movie. And like you said, maybe it's going to do well. Like Force Awakens remake a lot of stuff of the original movie. But we need to put out more original things. That
So
is why we're putting Tom. We're putting an original thing on my idea. So that is why my idea is the best one.
All right, Tom, your final pitch.
Okay, as a response, you can't remake something and call it an original idea. You either make a bad version of it or you ring true with respect to the original. What you're doing doesn't sound like that. I'm sorry.
No, it sounds like the original idea because
hold on, Raul. Final. But as a whole, my stalker is not too distracting, but at the same time is going to be a brilliant performance and feel like a threat that could maybe come out at any time. It rings true with the original. As far as the other stalkers go, I feel like they would almost maybe pity him, which would be giving it cool character development. Drew Carey, we should focus on the co-stars alone. We don't need this movie to see Stephen Hardy. What's his name?
Steve Harvey.
Okay, Steve Harvey's darkness. We see that in his real life. He's very open about his opinions, and he's a punchline. I think he'd be distracting and it would serve no purpose to the movie. And as far as Wayne Brady, that would also be distracting because the whole time I'd be wondering if Wayne Brady's about to cut a bitch. So that's why Drew Carey is the obvious answer, and I think my stalker is the most complementive to the original and the other things that are going to be going around it. Because I assume it's going to use the same storyline because that's the one we like.
All right, and Hector.
All right, let's break it down, gentlemen and lady, with the two components here. First of all, the stalker. My stalker is the strongest because it is an homage to the original Running Man, and it is my stalker is not a nice. He's a samurai character, and it's a great classic stereotypical thing. Both of the stalkers that were presented, Raoul's is too powerful. The telepath element is too out there, and Scraps the cannibal is pretty dumb. I think it's just dumb, and it doesn't provide an imposing sort of physical match for whatever the Arnold Schwarzenegger character would be. Let's go to the game show host. Steve Harvey does have an edge. We agreed on that. He's got that darkness to him. Wayne Brady, we can joke that he has an edge, but he doesn't. The whole point of that Chappelle Show skit was that when he did that, it was funny because he's such a nice guy that it was hilarious to see him say, "Is Wayne Brady going to have to choke a bitch?" And then that was even undercut because they showed bloopers and outtakes where Wayne Brady didn't even want to say that, and he wanted to say something else. He's like, "Is Wayne Brady going to have to choke someone?" Is Wayne like he couldn't bring himself to say that. I don't think he's got the edge. You want to talk about who's a human punchline? Drew Carey is a human punchline. He's not an actor. He was terrible on the Drew Carey show. He's not even a great comedian. He's a good host of Whose Line Is It Anyway? And of the easiest job in the world, Bob Barker's Price is Right. So Drew Carey would be a really not interesting to watch host of The Running Man. Also, to your point, Tom, about not being able to make a remake and make it original, you can, and it's called Peach Dragon, which is a remake and super original. So that's why my Steve Harvey, Damon Killian host is better, and my stalker, because I'm not trying to shake the boat, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, it's just a stalker. And the point of The Running Man is to hire some actor as charismatic as Arnold Schwarzenegger and then go from there. Boom, done.
All right. Let's see. What do we got on the facts? Nice round. Jeez.
All right, lots of opinions. I like how y'all brought up the Chappelle skit, because if y'all hadn't, I would have. Some fun facts. The Running Man is based off of a novel written by Stephen King, but he wrote under a pseudonym. And the movie and the novel vary differently. The novel's primarily on the East Coast, and the film takes place in California. And all of the hosts that you chose all have comedic backgrounds. They've either done stand-up or improv, and Drew Carey has the most hosting experience, if I remember correctly. I think he's hosted a lot of episodes of The Price is Right, where Steve Harvey and Wayne Brady don't have quite as many episodes of their respective shows. That's about it.
What did Twitter think?
There's a lot of love for all of the host choices. Calvin would like to nominate Howie Mandel.
That would be
From the what's that? What was the show he did?
Deal
Deal
or
or
No
No
Deal?
Deal.
You don't know
Yeah.
deal.
And see, I was thinking of the 30 Rock parody Gold Case, but but Brian also did bring up the Wayne Brady gif of him having to choke a bee. However, he did say it's the Sophie's Choice as well because let me see if I can find it real quick. That two of his Drew and Steve host his favorite TV shows or his favorite game shows. So, yeah.
And just a fun fact on our show, BFF, this is the movie that we've chosen to review for this week. So, guys, let us know who you would like to host, and we'll be talking about all of these fine gentlemen's choices as well. We'll have to pick some kind of criteria to rank them all. We'll find out. We'll do that before we start filming.
Very
It'll
nice.
be
Can't wait
a
to
secret
see
till
it.
then.
And that'll air what in two shows, right?
Yeah, because next week is Doctor Strangelove, because we're about like a week behind the fan fiction, so in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Guys, this one is difficult. One could say it is tough. When I was looking at my notes here, I think what everyone said, Raul, about your character in that, the power level of it and how it kind of removes from the type of storyline. And you said yourself that that character, Whispers, is the most interesting character in the movie, and really the movie isn't about him. The Stalkers are very much background characters for the show. They're the gimmick of the movies. So I think for me, when I was looking at it, that your pitch, while good, is probably not the one I'm going with here. It's between Tom and Hector. I like how Tom is sticking with the dystopian future idea, and I think his Andy Serkis character is perfect. Like, I can picture that character in my head. Hector, when you said about the samurai and the nostalgia factor of how much that does play on the original, that appealed to me as well. And Steve Harvey, I think, has a little edge there too because of the Family Feud connection. This was very difficult for me. I think what it came down to is I did not hear enough about Drew Carey and what he brought to his comparative role, whereas I heard a lot more.
Price is Right for
well, no, but I think I got a better sense of how Steve Harvey fits into that role, and the samurai for me really reminds me of the Stalkers that we have already in the movie. So for me, Hector gets the final point, which means, Hector, you are moving into the lightning round. Congratulations.
Awesome. Guys, I've never seen The Running Man. I haven't seen it yet. I got to check it out.
Are you serious?
It's
Yeah,
so good.
Sub-Zero is a samurai who has hockey skates.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's on Netflix.
I believe Sub-Zero is also portrayed by the guy who was Oddjob in the James Bond movies.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
he's Oddjob. He's like massive. Oh, it's a great movie. I hope you
I was
enjoy
going to
it.
try to watch it, but I didn't have time this week. But I was like, okay, I'll still try that question. But I added it to my queue. I can't wait
You
to
had
check
no
it out.
time this week. You're only on every show, dude. Where are
I
you
know.
on any time? Okay, so with that means we're going into a tiebreaker round between Raul and Tom to find out who will join you in the lightning round.
Cool.
The story repeats.
Here's how tiebreaker trivia will work. I'm going to tell you a movie. I'm going to ask you which actor does not appear in all three Oceans movies. That's Oceans 11, 12, and 13. I'm going to list off 5 actors, and you're going to tell me which one was not in all 3. Okay? The first person who gets it, obviously, is the person who gets to keep it. If you both say the same, someone else will have to pick a different. The person who gets it first will have to keep that. The other person has to pick something different. So here are the 5. Please wait until I finish with all 5. Which actor does not appear in all 3 Oceans movies? Elliot Gould, Scott Conn, Bernie Mac, Eddie Izzard, or Andy Garcia?
Bernie Mac.
Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard is correct. Raul, you are moving on to the lightning round. And Tom has moved on. This is off screen. Congratulations to you. Raul, you're going to move on to the lightning round. Tom, you'll hopefully come back. I will need your help here in the final round as we move on to the lightning round. So this is a best of 5 round. The first person to win 3 will win the fight. Welcome back, Tom. Tom, I'll need your help here as we go into lightning round 1. This
We're doing
question.
20 and 10.
Yeah, we're going to do 20 and 10. When you say time, I will push the ding just so that everybody has that extra punctuation of like your time is up. You get 20
Alrighty.
seconds with 10-second rebuttals. This question is specifically for Billy Polihan, one of our fans, and he has been a fighter on our show. I wrote this question for you, Billy. The question is, better superhero fight scene? The Batman warehouse fight in Batman v Superman, or the airport fight in Civil War?
Airport fight.
Airport fight.
All right. Hector, you're going to have the airport fight. And Raul, you have the warehouse fight. And Hector, you go first. Time starts when you begin talking.
The fight that Batman does with those thugs in the warehouse is bad because he ends up killing a bunch of those thugs. And it's also just a ripoff of the Arkham Knight style video game franchise. It doesn't quite get the character of Batman right. The airport scene changed action scenes in cinema. It juggled way more characters and did a beautiful job of it, giving each of them character moments. It had mind-blowing special effects.
Raul, you have the warehouse fight.
The warehouse fight is very cool because in BVS that's where everybody's saying, oh my god, Batman's the most awesome thing ever. Like you say in Civil War, you get to shut out a lot of the different characters, and also the awesomeness about the video game. That's the thing, a lot of soul and that battle scene in the warehouse. That's the cool thing. That's the cool thing about Batman. And also Ben Affleck is the best Batman there. That is the best scene in Civil War.
There's an Empire Strikes Back reference in my scene. There is a moment where Ant-Man turns into Giant Man, and Spider-Man says, holy shit, which is the best thing ever that they got Spider-Man to say that.
That's time.
Raul?
Batman saves Martha, and then he says, oh, who are you? Oh, I'm a friend of your son's. Oh, I saw it for the cape. So that's the better line. That's the most wonderful line. That's the coolness of that line.
All right. Tom, what did you think?
I think Raul's referencing multiple warehouse scenes. I was confused.
Oh, I said it very quickly.
Yeah, that too. And Hector made the stronger argument. So Civil War.
Okay. Ash and Joe.
I think Civil War because he did point out a lot of the really fantastic Spider-Man stuff and
Yeah.
the Giant Man, and you just see this huge.
The Empire Strikes Back moment, yeah, Giant Man, the curse word, which I will not say. 'Cause
It encompassed a lot lot of the.
I got to
the parts
maintain my
we-
school reputation.
It encompassed a lot of the parts we really enjoy about the Marvel movies, and that's the little references and the quips and the quirks and that kind of stuff.
Hector, I also agree. You get the point for round one.
That is an unfair question. Raul, nice job, but whoever came up with that question, that's not equal. That's not fair.
Yeah,
Really?
A
I
good
will
argument can be made for why Batman is better than the Superman.
I did love the warehouse fight. It is a fantastic fight. It is like one of the 3 best things about that movie. But
Yeah.
Airport is just better.
So, question number 2. They're not all going to be comic related. Question number 2. Who is TV's best physician?
Dr. Ross.
Dr. Ross.
Dr. Nick Riviera.
Hi, everybody.
All right. All right, Raul, you had Dr. Ross. You go first.
No, it's Dr. Oz, like Wizard of Oz. And
Oh,
those
Oz.
Oz.
Dr. Oz.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, Dr. Oz in the show, they always show a lot of the scenes like in the body. You can see they can show all the different replications of the sickness, and also you can see that it can be better in.
Oh, I lost you there, Raul. There at the end.
Okay, you can see like between like a lot of people can get sick and like can get better, and also
That's time.
to get health and.
Okay. Dr. Riviera, Hector.
The only reason Dr. Oz is on television is because he's so darn handsome. Dr. Nick Riviera pokes fun at the entire pharmaceutical and medical industry when a hack is able to become a doctor, and there's no funnier line than, my favorite part was when he paid me the money. That's the best line. One of the best lines in The Simpsons.
All right. Raul, rebuttal.
First, Dr. Rivera's from The Simpsons. Dr. Oz is based on our reality, and also by you saying handsome, who doesn't want a doctor to be handsome and also to get you cured? Who doesn't want that?
Time.
Hector.
I'd rather have a qualified doctor than a handsome one, and in The Simpsons show it's Dr. Hibbert, but Dr. Nick Riviera is a better character because he's hilarious, and he lets you know that doctors are just humans and sometimes you might get scammed.
That's the time.
All
Dr.
right.
Romero doesn't know medicine.
Let's start with Ashley and Joe this time. Who would you pick?
Oh man, this is tough. I kind of liked the outside of the box pick that Hector made, and just sometimes doctors are human too, so I'm gonna go outside the box and go with Hector on this one.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Tom?
Interesting look.
They say laughter is the best medicine.
That's like a mic drop right there.
I'm gonna have to go with him.
So Hector, you get the point. That's 2-0. Raul, you got to get all the 3 coming up to stay in the game. Ready?
Okay.
You can do it. You can do
Do
it.
it! All right. Lightning round 3. Who is the best villain from the X-Men animated series?
Magneto.
Juggernaut.
All right. Hector, you get to start with Magneto.
No,
Raul.
Magneto.
That was Raul that said Magneto.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Raul, you get to start with Magneto. Sorry.
Okay, first Magneto, he's like a dictator. He was a survivor of the Holocaust, and then he became what the Holocaust was. He became the person that wants to destroy a lot of people. And also Magneto, he's much better because he was to destroy mankind. He was immune to be the upper class, the upper species. So that is why Magneto is the better villain. Juggernaut says,
Time.
Juggernaut, bitch.
That's why
Hector,
the Juggernaut's a better villain, is because that video on YouTube led to a line being put in the 3rd X-Men movie. Juggernaut, his ridiculousness and his awesome costume led to that hilarious classic video. Oh no, I've had that since the 4th grade. Charles, stop effing with my helmet, Charles. Oh no, look at that. It was the funniest thing ever, and it also kind of encapsulated Juggernaut.
Raul.
Juggernaut is a wrestler with that costume, and he's careless. Magneto, he's a much better character. It has a lot of dynamic things. He is a better villain. Overall, he can manipulate everything. He can manipulate the minds on all of the side and the other side of the
Hector.
He can't manipulate everything, only stuff that's metal and magnetic fields, but Juggernaut always looks that good, and he's also the half-brother of Charles Xavier, and that is why he's the best villain on X-Men the Animated Series.
Time.
All right. Tom, who'd you think won that round?
Well, I think Raul had me only because it was about the animated series, and while yes, a parody is great, the worst offense is bringing up X-Men 3, which he is not a mutant in, and is like the worst abomination of the Juggernaut's character. He's not even related to Charles, so I have to go off the Raul. He's not wrong in that saying that, you know, he learned from what took everything from him and uses it to take everything from everyone else now. So.
All right. Ash and Joe.
I'm also going to go with Raul, if only because Raul brought up stuff that actually was in the animated series, and everything Hector pointed out to the strength of. Now, it's a good point about the Juggernaut being hilarious, but everything he pointed out was the parody.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't actually the animated series.
Yeah, I agree. Raul, you get the point for very much the same reasons. Well done. So we have Hector with a score of 2, Raul with a score of 1. You are still in this. Well done. Lightning round 4. I hope you guys are brushed up on your Star Trek for this next question. If The Wrath of Khan is the best Star Trek movie, and it is, which is the second best?
It started in 2009.
Star Trek.
Okay, wait.
I
Hang
said-
on. Is that the one you were saying, Raul?
Yes, 2009 Star Trek.
Okay, so Hector, you have to pick a different one if that's the same one you were picking. You said it so fast I couldn't tell which one you had said.
Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home.
All right. And 2009 goes first with Raul.
Okay, J.J. Abrams had the difficult task of rebooting the franchise. He did it the best perfectly. He encapsulates a lot of the goodies about the old series, and also he puts out a very good villain. It was Eric Bana, I forgot the name of the guy, but he was a very good villain. And also the James Ticker as Creep Punk, Zachary Quinto, he was from Cyber from Heroes. He was a very
Time.
beautiful Dr. Spock. Spock, sorry.
Hector, Voyage Home.
Nero was just a Khan ripoff. The problem with Abrams' Star Trek is that it focused mostly on Kirk and Spock and had to make them orphans to superheroize them instead of making it a team dynamic, which what the Voyage Home does is brilliant. It set them in modern day, which at the time was 80s. It's the funniest of the Star Treks, while also having some of the most heart, best character moments, and it fit in with that trilogy, 2, 3, 4.
Raul?
The Voyage Home, the only thing that you remember was the whales. So it started 2009. You remember the action, you remember the story, and you remember that beautiful opening scene when Jay Sticker is his father dies.
Hector?
The Voyage Home had a message, and that was environmentalism, and it was really important that it had that message, and people remember it for that reason. They also remember the rest of the character moments. They remember the way that Kirk interacted with the female love interest. They remember how Spock was learning himself.
Whew, this one's going to be tough.
That's a tough one. Good job, Raul.
Well fought. Joe and Ashley.
I'm going to recuse myself. I missed half the arguments.
We're dealing with cat issues, so.
But she was here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about Star Trek.
Well, based on the arguments, which one was argued better?
Oh man, this is tough.
Want me to come back to you?
Yes, please.
Tom? What'd you think?
I don't know if for the reasons Hector stated that necessarily makes it the second best Star Trek movie. I mean, yes, environmentalism is important and stuff, but when you do something specific to that, like Captain Planet or like Space Whales, it kind of pulls it apart from the rest of the franchise, I feel. Sorry, Jack, you're going to have to figure this one out on your own.
Oh, great. Well, that's fantastic. Ash, do you want to weigh in?
If I had to choose, just because again, I don't know a whole lot about Star Trek, but like the environment, like you could do a movie about anything with environmentalism. Like does Star Trek have to be like the vehicle for that? So, and Raul did have some good points about like rebooting the series and that kind of thing. So I'd give a slight edge to Raul.
All right, so it's down to me. I liked both arguments a lot. This is a really close round. But I think ultimately I heard more about the Voyage Home and its impact at the time and what it did as far as its crew and how it portrayed them. So for me, the pick is the Voyage Home, which is Hector. So Hector gets the point, and that means 3-1. Hector wins the lightning round and the game. 2-0, Hector.
Wow.
Well done. Congratulations.
You guys are tough. You had some awesome questions. That was super fun. Thank you for having me on the show. Despite me losing my voice, I sound like an idiot. But you guys are awesome. Well played all around. Thank you so much.
Hector, can you tell us where to find you on all the places on the internet?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at HectorIsFunny, and I normally post about different shows. Gosh, I feel like I'm doing a bunch right now. The main thing I want you guys to check out, if you're interested, if you like animation, if you like listening to creative people be creative, check out the Nickelodeon Animation Podcast. It's on iTunes. It's on YouTube. It's anywhere you can find podcasts. And the episode that just came out was Jorge Gutierrez, the guy who directed and created an animated movie called The Book of Life. And it's maybe my favorite episode because you just get to hear this guy and his career. He turned down a job working on Star Wars The Phantom Menace before it came out. So when people were like, this is the new Star Wars, because he wanted to go do his own thing. And he described in the podcast, he went to go see the movie opening day, and he was the only one, when Jar Jar Binks came out, and went, blah, 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 he was the only one cheering, going, yes, I don't regret not working on this. So it's hilarious, it's great, and thanks again, guys, so much. This is a blast. You guys put together an awesome show.
You know, we're just fans, and we appreciate that you donate your time. We know you're very busy, so thank you so much for doing this. And by the way, everyone, we do put Hector's links in our description, so please check him out across all the boards. You'll find him on Knocking Dead coming up, I guess, in October, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Which is the recap show for The Walking Dead. It's much funnier than The Talking Dead. I definitely recommend checking that out.
I'm also just if I. Yeah, Jack, you'll definitely be calling in. But if I can also plug me and my friend Marina, we're watching the show Fear the Walking Dead right now, and we're putting it on a YouTube channel called The Playback, which I'll be tweeting out. So the cool thing is though, Marina has never read the Walking Dead comic book, and I've only read about half of it. And I had her read the first volume by Robert Kirkman, and she really disliked it, and it's one of my favorites. So we're going to do reviews for the Walking Dead comic books, volume by volume. You guys are going to want to check it out because she's probably going to tear them apart, and I really like them, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're really good.
So be on the lookout for that.
I like them as well. That'll be fun to watch. So, Raul, you did a great job today. You came in second. Fantastic fighting, as always. Tell us where we can find you on the internet.
Okay, you can find me on Twitter of Raul Bader RDC. There's going to be also on the link here down below. And also you can find me on our Shape panel. And so you can find me here at Fan Fiction. Finally, I was on the lighter round. So
was that your first speed round?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Lightning round? Well done. Congratulations. Tom, I know this was a tough loss. I know you hate going down in tiebreaker trivia. But tell us about Odd Shape Panel and where we can find you.
Odd Shape Panel is a call-in podcast. We usually get together for about 3 hours and we talk about a specific topic. Last time we talked about, somebody should tell me, tabletop board games. That was Joe's episode. This coming Monday we're going to be talking about the women of pop culture. We have a few questions about that. We're always looking to have people on. We just had some great guests last week from the Digital and Dice podcast. They were great, and they look forward to coming back. And we're always looking for new topics. You can tweet us at OddShapePanel, or you can find our videos here on the channel, which I'm sure there's links below and all that jazz.
Absolutely, and if you haven't seen it yet, guys, last week we posted the video game episode. Tom and Kimber worked very hard on editing, and this is probably one of their best episodes. Definitely check it out. It's fantastic. It came out really nice. I'm in that one too, but it's really good. And then he just dropped off because it was so awesome. Tom was like, I can't stay to really celebrate it. So we do have one more new show. It's called BFF, and that's going to be starring Ashley and Joe. We have one episode up already, guys. Tell us about where we can find you and your new show.
All right, you can find us both on Twitter. I'm at _Mrs. Davis.
And I'm at Drake Mask.
And our show, there's been so many movies that when we've done fact checking, we've never seen, and we're watching them anyway so that we can understand the arguments better when we're trying to look up stuff. So we thought that would be the easiest show premise for us to ever do. Let's just review the movies that we're already watching, and we've Joe and I have been friends forever, so this just
kind of
felt natural to just hey, let's talk about these movies and things we love, things we've never seen before. And so you can check our first episode on When Harry Met Sally, which had a pretty good conversation. We're still working out the kinks on editing stuff. That's definitely not either of our day jobs, but we had a pretty fun discussion of making fun of the 80s, basically, because that movie came out when we were in kindergarten, so definitely not on the radar for us. So.
Awesome.
And then the next episode that will be coming out next Sunday will be Doctor Strangelove, and then after the next fan friction will be The Running Man. So looking forward to posting all of that out there, and we always want to hear from you guys. So if there's any suggestion for hey, maybe the case comes up where we've seen everything on a fan friction, which one would you like us to go review from the vault per se? And we always love to hear back from people, so, tweet at us, because we'll reply.
Yep.
We don't got much else to do.
Fantastic. And as always, our show runs until 3. So we're trying to get down. We're at an hour and 50 minutes, I think, on this show. So fantastic. We shaved off 10. Again, Hector, thank you for giving us your time today. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we will see everyone in 2 weeks for our next episode. That'll be my birthday. Will we do anything special? I don't know. So we hope to see you then. Tune in 2 weeks, and have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.